This is Barry from Imagination to Reality CNC, and in this video we're going to talk about what you need to do after you've got your physical CNC machine set up. For the purpose of the start of this video, the A series and the B series CNC machine, the setup from this point is the exact same. With purchase of either machine, you should have got a clear pocket inside the contents of the CNC machine, which has one laminated sheet known as your quick start guide. And more importantly, you've got a USB key or a thumb drive, which includes the contents of your full user manual, which is all the information you needed to get to set up at this point, but also the information needed to install and set up your Windows-based PC. So when you have your A series or your B series set up on the stand, you can proceed to plug it into the power and power it up. The next stage of the process is to get your PC talking to the CNC controller. On the USB key will contain the full documentation on how to do this. We've also broken it up into 3 simple steps. Step 1 is setting up a network between the PC and the controller. Step 2 is installing the UCCNC software. And step 3 is specific to the machine you've purchased, be it the A series or the B series, and will install the profile that contains all the user parameters for that machine. Included in the contents of the CNC will be what's known as an Ethernet cable or an RJ45 cable. We highly recommend that the PC you have has a dedicated Ethernet port and you're not using a USB to Ethernet adapter. If you do choose to use a USB to Ethernet adapter, this may affect the stability of the connection. So to complete step 1, we need to go through some of the Windows configuration parameters. This can be done before you've connected the CNC machine and can also be done whether or not the CNC machine is powered on or not. So for this part of the setup, we're going to show you the contents on the USB key provided. So you need to open up your File Explorer and open up your USB key. And as you can see here, there's 3 folders in there that include your additional manuals, which we'll go through in a second, your i2R CNC UCCNC Set-up folder, and the README CNC machine manuals. So certainly where you want to start is with the README CNC manuals, of which we've broken it up into 6 different sections, going through all the facets of the CNC machine, working with the Vectric software to actually parts machining at the end. So this is really where you should start your CNC journey. Going back a step, we're going to go through the detailed setup now of the UCCNC software and installing the i2R CNC profile onto your PC. So looking at the i2R CNC UCCNC Setup folder, you can see we've broken it up into 3 simple steps. Step 1 is set up the network. Step 2 is installing the UCCNC software. And step 3 is your license and profile install. Just so you know, inside each one of these steps, we've broken it up into Windows 10 11 setup or Windows 7 setup if you're still using Windows 7. In each one of those folders, there's a PDF and video instruction showing you what you need to do. So for this step 1, setting up the network, the best way to start this process is find your search bar on Windows, which is either in your start menu, or you can see down here I have a dedicated search bar. Typing in ncpa.cpl will bring up my network connections window. This is where we're going to set the fixed IP address required to run your i2R CNC machine. Because we're changing settings with the local area network, I like to rename this network first so that we know it's no longer the default Windows setup for your local area network. You can call it CNC, you can call it i2R CNC, it really doesn't matter, just once the name differentiates it from any other network on your machine what it is. Next step is right-clicking on this network, we can open up the Properties field. Under the Properties window, we can see specifically Internet Protocol version 4, TCP/IP version 4. When we left click on this once, it highlights in blue, and now we can select the Properties menu. Here we need to select use the following IP address because we want to make a fixed IP address that will talk directly with our machine. In the IP address, we can type in 10, 10, 10, 10. In the subnet mask, you can type in 255, 255, 255, and leave the last one as 0. You can note that these settings 10, and 255, 255, 2550 is the same for everybody's CNC machine. When you fill that out, you can proceed to click OK. You can close down the CNC properties and you can close down your network connection. The second step we need to go through is installing the UCCNC software. And when we go into the step 2 folder, we can see there's a setup file in here, which is an application file type. Right now, the setup version we're doing is 1.2115, and you may have a future version of the software on your USB key, which is fine, but certainly what we're looking for is the setup file, and it's an application folder. Double clicking on this, our default language is English, which is good. And in summary, we're clicking next, agree to the terms and conditions. The default location on your C drive is fine. If you have no previous versions of UCCNC on your PC, it doesn't matter what you do to this step, but as a precaution, I never overwrite the default profiles and macros. Next, and install. This will then run through the installation sequence. Right now, we do not need to run UCCNC because we still have a step 3 to complete. Going back into our folders, we can see that step 3 is license and profile install. Again, a PDF and video instruction in there describes what you need to do. But in summary, you should see the model and brand of your machine as the UCCNC profile installer. You can click that, and in there will be a profile run me application. If you double click this, if the file runs successfully, a pop-up will come up. The installation of the profile has finished, which you can acknowledge. And then on your desktop, you can see it's already automatically created a shortcut for you called the i2R A24 or whatever applicable model you have. As part of the installation process, it also put a shortcut on your desktop called UCCNC and UCCNC Plasma. We recommend you put both those shortcuts into the recycle bin as to not mix them up with your machine-specific profile which you need to start. If step 3 does not complete successfully, it may be because one of your Windows features is not enabled. To verify this on an unsuccessful installation of step 3, go to your search bar in Windows and type in Windows features. For step 3 to complete successfully, you need to ensure that the Net Framework 3.5, including .NET 2.0 and 3.0, is selected. You may require access to the internet for that to install. After that's completed, then you can go through step 3 again. And to verify it is completely done successfully, this pop-up should come up, the installation of the profile has finished. That will place the shortcut on your desktop, and now you're good to start UCCNC. Now that you've completed step 1, 2, and 3 on the USB key, we can now proceed to power up the machine and make that connection. So please ensure that the Ethernet cable is plugged into the front of the control box and into the back of your PC. When that step is complete, you can proceed to turn the control box on. The order in which you do this is not really critical, but when the control box is powered on and the Ethernet connection is plugged in, you do need to allow maybe 5 to 10 seconds for that connection to establish. After that point, you can then proceed to go to the shortcut on your desktop, which should be clearly labeled the i2R A24, or in this case, the i2R B24. With the control box powered on and the Ethernet cable connected, we can now click on the shortcut on our desktop, the i2R A24. If you have successfully completed step 1, 2, and 3 on the USB key, powered up the machine, and connected your cable, you should have no issue connecting the software to the CNC. There is instances where a message will pop up saying that it has failed to make connection. The main reasons why this happen, believe it or not, is if the cable is not connected or not connected correctly. Second to that is if the CNC controller is not powered up, it will not be able to establish that connection. The third most common cause of the connection not being established is if you power up the control box and go to the shortcut too soon and the connection has not been established, it will also not establish that connection and the software will fail to start up correctly. The other thing you need to ensure you have not done is started up 2 instances of UCCNC. If you start up UCCNC a second time while a first time is already running, the second instance of UCCNC will also fail to connect. There is means to ensure that you have set everything up correctly and you have established that connection. And the first thing we always check on every startup is on the top left-hand corner of the Windows screen. it reads UCCNC software. If that connection was not established correctly, it would read UCCNC software running in demo mode. And that indicates to me straight away that we have failed to complete one of the steps on the USB key, step 1, 2, or 3. The cable is not connected, the machine's not powered on, or we have issues somewhere with our network settings. To ensure that we've got the right profile installed, which is step 3 on the USB key, we can see down here on the center of the screen, it reads Profile i2R A24. If that read Profile Default, it likely means that you've opened up the default profile and have not successfully completed step 3. So when we've proven a successful connection with the CNC router and the PC, we're not running in demo mode and the correct profile has been loaded. The machine comes with a spindle support underneath the spindle. We need to remove this, and the best way to do it is simply running the home alt cycle. To run the home alt cycle, we need to undo the reset on the screen so that it is solid and no longer flashing. Then we can click the home all button. As you can see, when you home all, the Z-axis will clear the spindle support and move as far up towards the sky as possible. The second motion in the home all command is to bring the X-axis all the way across to the left. The third motion of the home all command will bring the Y-axis all the way forward to the front of the machine. It should be noted that this sequence, the Z, the X, and then the Y, always goes in that order. It also should be noted that the machine is running at a very, very slow and safe speed, and this will always be the case. If during the home all cycle you have left something in the way that is going to obstruct its motion, you can either hit the cycle stop or the reset to stop all motion. So this video we've managed to achieve completing all the steps on the USB key, which include setting up the network, installing the UCCNC software, and the specific profile for either your A series or B series CNC machine. We were able to complete our first move, which was the home all cycle. And now in the next video, we'll look at our first jobs, how to use the spindle, clamping our workpiece, and the other functionality of the UCCNC screen.